When you ask, you get the answer. You know, you go understand what's in the happen. Be empowered and get consciousness and awareness and know what's in the happen to government. So let's say, you know, care constitution, not a thing where then they review every other term or amend or whatever. It takes time, and where they happen, everybody need for get involved. So this morning they can talk to the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Alpha Cisse, gets the 2025 amendment bill where they non-gazette already. It dey na bookshop. We're not gonna parliament it, but we need to get a conversation around them for understand what's in the inside it. What's in people them for expect. How will they affect people them? We life because election or whatever, therefore do with how we governments go tell like and waiting and go do. For we all for better this country. Good morning, Mr. Minister, and welcome.
Good morning, Lamwana. Good morning to the Truth Media team, and good morning to the people of Salone.
It is a pleasure. This now Remembrance Week. First, I want ask a question about. We can't talk about the bill, but there's this. I read one document where now the former Attorney General and Attorney General under Pakaba in term. Let's just pull up a name. Attorney General Minister of Justice then we na FM Keru, and this have been 2005. We get for do with reparation and special fund for war victims. I get John Kokana the other day. He commend you that for the first time he gets somebody when Attorney General Minister of Justice where they talk about reforms them where in the title the TRC recommendations, and we get this issue about reparation for war victims. I get the president now the other day was asking. He said they don't know side for good. They still get these documents where the government be make commitment to the office of the Attorney General for give them some support. But they don't know that for good too. We then go next side and they send them other side. What's in a government in position on possibly addressing the concerns them? They need health care, education for them picking them, and bread and butter, something we then go to get at the end of every month.
Thank you, Lamwana. Thank you for where we start with Remembrance Week. Don't take we over 20 years for make we get to this point here. So, you know, when you discuss reparations in the context of transitional justice, a day in different forms. Yes, you know, we can talk about the material things and the material reparations. We say, you know, you get for take care of victims, then their needs, you know, whether medical support or providing education, job training or job placements. Just make sure, say, you empower them that day. But, you know, you also get within a symbolic reparations. And if you go to the report of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, one of the symbolic reparations where the TRC be recommend, now really the acknowledgement of wrongdoing. So when the president, by proclamation, declare January 18th every year as National Remembrance Day, now that acknowledgement day, the TRC being called and one of the symbolic reparations we for honor. So that is what we have done as a government, and we're really glad that the entire country embrace them. You know, I see you get your white ribbon. They commemorate the week. You know, I move, go Kailaun, Camp Kenima. I see communities get together. Now Freetown, now other parts of the country. So that's not part of this process here. So. But yes, symbolic reparations not enough. For some people, yes, it is enough. For some people, you know, even a public apology. We call, say, still in the context of reparations, you know, the TRC get hearing specific to the harm suffered by women of this country. And if you look at the TRC report, it gets a chapter we dedicated specifically to the harm suffered and by women, and it makes several recommendations. again, symbolic recommendation, symbolic reparation mandate. So we call, say, late President Kaba being issued a public apology to the women of Sierra Leone. Say the country failed them. They apologize for the harm we then suffer during the war. That's not part of symbolic reparation. So yes, don't think also don't happen. I mean, also when the TRCB recommends, say, make NACSA be the home for managed reparations for victims of the conflict. Yes, NACSA take steps for do some of that. You know, if you go to the records, you go see, say, yes, there were times when NACSA take step for do that. But I think we therefore acknowledge, say, a lot of it don't be piecemeal. I think, say, we need for do better for get reparations program that this country has for victims better structured. And that nothing we all for take responsibility for. We don't get 3 different governments we for manage this response here. So yes, the government of late President Kaba do some of it. The government of former President Nkrumah do some of it. The government of President Bio don't do some of it. But I think we need for be better structured. I think I don't say publicly that you know, a better way for show commitment to victims of the conflict in this country, and for make we take this beyond symbolic reparations and really put concrete measures in place for provide full reparations to victims. The TRC being actually make provide certain guidelines on how we determine the category of victims we for get reparations. If you look at in percentages, a layout percentage of loss in earnings, you know, we go take a victim over a particular threshold for get certain kinds of reparations. Of course, they also talk about medical support will be provided to certain kinds of victims. So I think we need to do all of that. But there's commitment in government. Okay. It's something where the president said.
I will ask if we're not committed to.
Oh yes. Nothing where the president don't talk about. I think say the president don't be very clear. Say we for really take the recommendations of the TRC with utmost seriousness. And really, you know, if you take stock, we get in the context of reforms. Actually, you know, as John Coker say, a lot of reforms will be connected to the recommendations of the TRC. And you know, sometimes we or the public not take stock, but I think so we need to provide that information to members of the public. And then say we're making significant progress on implementation of recommendations of the TRC. But yes, the president don't be very clear. Say make we continue, make we make the public know, make we provide education to the public, but then make we put concrete steps in place for make sure say reparations are provided for victims, and that. You know, waiting I can call painful peace, which is like for just swallow everything will happen and move on. That not going to be the case in this country.
Inshallah. And I think we need for commend government, the president, and on all and the Ministry of Information and Civic Education, you know, for reignite this conversation around the war. Me attend the program with journalism. You know, I learn media history na mass communication at Fabi College, but waiting I learned that next the story of Dr. Spencer, you know, Kelvin Lewis, Umaru, Sylvester Rogers, Anna Fuller, of how they cover the war and the sacrifice we they make. It's something we should teach. People should learn, and I hope say we go expand them with the second year, you know, commemoration. So. And different sectors therefore get involved, because even legal lawyers them.
Oh yeah, I think so. You know, this is not conversation will for be broad. I think I myself, you know, follow the program with Sludge, you know, and how the war affects you know, media practitioners or media practice in the country. You know, I always want to say I think so. We also need to forget that discussion in the context of civil society. I think so one of the things that we don't be really absent in the narrative of the history. You know, we don't give a lot of credit to the United Nations. Great, you know, then do well. We don't give a lot of credit to ECOWAS, for the economic intervention. That is great. Don't give a lot of credit to the British government for humanitarian intervention where the British forces come in. I think the waiting don't be absent in the narrative now. The crucial role will local civil society play in the country in transition. I feel that not been the most significant component of the broader response. And that really, when I say civil society, I use them broadly. Include journalists as well. Include student groups. These days no one talks about August 18. No one really talks about the students them we being escape go Lunge, and undergo crash military training, and then we are part of the intervention force. No one talks about civil society march on Sanko in residence on March 8th. We change everything. No one talks about 2 weeks later, the civilians then we hold Sanko with their bare hands, and we never really looked back, So then in the honor things, then we have no one even talks about the civil disobedience for 9 months during the AFRC era, and how that really influenced international response in this country. So I think these are conversations that we need to have. I think a learning processes for we all, but also I think a good example of whether it's moment of crisis or not, when the country rally around a common purpose, the results we will get. I think we need to talk more about this. We need to teach this to students and use then discussions also for inform with engagement on national issues in this country.
It's important and it's good, and I think the good thing is, like you say, all across most part of the country, we get the conversation. People don't recognize the day now. Moving forward, we'll get them broader conversation there. So we look forward to that as well. But at least we get a day now. The members say, people who've been dying at the whole get conversation about we war. Thank you so much for that assurance. I'm sure the amputees and war wounded and the listen. This is that assurance from the Attorney General, Minister of Justice, that government is committed and government go firmly for address on our concerns them. Mr. Minister, let's talk about the bill. A bill entitled the Constitution of Sierra Leone Amendment Act 2025, being an act to amend the Constitution of Sierra Leone 1991, Act number 6 of 1991, and to provide for other related matters. Waiting informed this bill? Why we get something like this at this time?
Thank you, Lama. So several things inform this bill. I want to start by noting, we elections or electoral processes in this country don't get the fair share of challenges, and it gets to a point where the president, and I can always look for first time when the president appoint me as Deputy Minister of Justice, it's not the first conversation where we get. I want for make we reform we electoral architecture. Anyway, we will work for everybody and make we able get acceptance, because President's intent was in 2007 SLPP complained about the outcome of the elections. In 2012 INSEF complained. In 2018 APC complained. 2023 we get the same thing. So it probably points to the fact that there are issues with the electoral system, and so make a reform. So that now one thing will influence some of the reforms also. But then the point that there's a broader journey where this country don't work. Yes, we discuss this in the context of the tripartite process. Yes, so first, make I acknowledge the tripartite process influences significantly a lot of the proposals in here, now recommendations from the tripartite process. But before tripartite, there was a constitutional review process. We also make a lot of proposals or recommendations. We touch on elections in this country. So I like for go back to the constitutional review process, because make people understand this not a government just sit down and say we want for change constitution. The constitutional review process is an example of continuity in government. At the time when quick we point to with divisions, quick we point to the things way one party they say the other party oppose, when government say the other person oppose. I think that the constitutional review process and one thing where every government says the war come to an end. Don't be clear about, don't make a commitment, say we need for move forward. you know, I'm not one for lose the opportunity for talk about the history of this process. Because I think so that context is important for make people understand within the reforms and way we try for get in we constitution or other laws them. You know, we just talk about war. When we signed the Lome Peace Agreement in 1999, we put a clause inside the Lome Peace Agreement say we will revise this constitution.
The 1991.
The 1991 constitution. So the Lome Peace Agreement became an act of parliament. So I can normally say that we not do this yet, that not complete this process yet. Actually means we're not even in compliance with a law will pass in 99. But then because, you know, we put some in Lome Agreement because after all the discussions then, it was everybody acknowledging, say, the 1991 constitution, as good as it is, transition we into multi-party democracy, provide for a strong human rights framework, provide for an independent judiciary, etc. It was an acknowledgement, say, not sufficient for prevent we from backsliding into where we had come from. So we put on it. And then we been get the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. When the TRC do in work 2002 to 2004, hand report to late President Kaba in October 2004. One of the recommendations we make now that we for revise this constitution. As a matter of fact, we for undertake broad consultations across the country and come up with a constitution we will reflect the views and aspirations of the people of this country for a peaceful and democratic society. We of course connected as well to economic development. And so as part of an effort for implement the recommendations of the TRC, the late President Kaba been set up within we come for know as the Dr. Peter Tucker Constitutional Review Committee. That committee they do in work, that'll be a small committee, about 13 or 15 people, do in work, and then by the time it completes in work, President Kaba been on left office. Now, former President Nkrumah been there in office now. So the committee be hand in report to former President Nkrumah in 2007. So that's how late President Kaba moved the process.
So a transition.
A transition to former President Nkrumah government. But when former President Nkrumah government look at the report, they watch say we need broader consultations. And so former President Nkrumah been set up the Justice Edmund Cowan Constitutional Review Committee. We been made up of 80 members. Broad representation across society. All political parties were represented. Journalists were represented. Lawyers were represented. Market women represented. Other civil society representatives represented. And the Justice Cowan Constitutional Review Committee worked from 2013 to 2015. During this time, I can also like to highlight the level of consultations will take place. The records show say the committee undertake over 10,000 public consultations in this country. It distributes over 70,000 forms to people learn for answer various questions on constitutional issues or the kind of constitution we want. It received over 150 position papers from various groups in interreligious committees, civil society, MDAs, political parties, etc. It hold about 80 expert engagements on specific constitutional issues. It also undertake international trips for land lessons in other countries like Kenya. It gets broader public engagement through the media, over 20,000 hours of airtime. Set up a website, we receive over 40,000, about 960 website visitors. That's the level of engagement. And then submit report to former President Nkrumah. In 2017, we really lay out within we new constitution for look like. So we call say government of President Nkrumah issue, former President Nkrumah issue the 2017 white paper, in which he accepts some of the recommendations and then rejects some. And then we begin get transition in 2018. In 2018, President Biokana office and make a commitment to say this process don't go on for too long. Let's take it to completion. But it's a need no day for start again. The work way
need for consult again.
No, I said the work way the Kawan committee do during former President Nkrumah time be really good, and so make we take that process to completion. So I walk people them through this journey for make we know say this is not a new creation. This is a process we don't go on for several years, and then now this is a part of an effort for take the process to completion. So you see, say every government since the war come to an end, don't move this process. So I think say on this we agree. See, we all agree. Say need day for change this constitution. That now waiting every government don't try for do. So that process been there. We would try for take to completion. Remember, I said there was a white paper. We the government of President Bio issue as well, the 2022 white paper.
Yeah.
So that process it make a lot of recommendations for amendments or reform or review of certain areas we get for the constitution. For example, it make recommendation for make we get a fixed date
For election.
It make recommendations say this country for transition permanently to the proportional representation system. It make recommendation say yes, we for move away from the 55% threshold, so we avoid runoffs in this country also. Make several other recommendations and then whilst we dey work on this, then the tripartite process come. We also make a lot of recommendations. I've been say when me serve with the tripartite committee, I remember say one task in fact we have been giving now for prepare a guidance note for see how the current recommendations we touch on elections align with some of the proposals who already been put on the table. So we get a matrix. We lay out within tripartite say, within Kawan say. I also want to emphasize to Fambul and say the tripartite process we make the recommendations here, so it not come for undo existing government reform initiatives. It come for complement the initiatives and so it not come for undo the broader constitutional review process, now for complement them. So when the tripartite report make recommendations for constitutional amendments, we say make feed these into the recommendations will be don't come from the Kawan committee we reflected in the government white paper. And when we do that, we see plenty of them align. For example, tripartite say we forget fixed date for election. The Kawan committee self say the same. Kawan committee and white paper say we for move away from 55% threshold. Tripartite process say the same thing, right? So you get several of them where the two processes align. So we don't put all of those together.
So why some of the recommendations that the tripartites make not the part of this? Some of the recommendations that we get for do with elections, say like electoral system dialogue, petition timeline, some of the recommendations.
Well, the petition timeline the inside, it didn't have this bill. So I will tell some people and say, wait I get for do 1 end days here. I get for take this bill. I take green paper. I take I take green pen and take red pen, not for reflect the colors of the two parties, but just because now colors we can use after blue ink and black ink, etc. I the mark in one color all the proposals will come from the tripartite process. I mark in another color all the proposals will come from the broader constitutional review process. Alliance on Jama make people and see the proposals with the inside so not to make creation, not to government in creation. These are proposals will come from then two processes here so now then they inside
and then form this document.
Now then form this document here so every proposal. Now of course I also don't say very publicly that one or two proposals say we you go see government modify. I don't think we should run away from that. In discussions with people who don't in the governance space, I tell them every government when you get recommendations like this, whether it's from constitutional review or a commission of inquiry or just an investigating report, government will issue a white paper, similar to even the TRC report. Government will issue a white paper. In that white paper, government can do three things. One, it can accept some of the recommendations. Two, it can reject some of the recommendations. Three, it can accept some but with modification. That now we to see TRC report, then we to see the 2017 white paper under APC, then we to see with the 2020 white paper under the SLPP government. And so, yes, I'll say one or two things don't be tweaked, and I'm ready for take responsibility and explain them things. And
they align with the recommendation, them the tripartite recommendations.
Of course, they align, but then with slight modifications.
What are some of them? They want in dinner.
For example, people will ask questions about the threshold for make somebody be declared a winner in a presidential election, right? We say for move away from the 55% threshold, right, and be like other countries in the region. But now the point is, when we discuss this on the tripartite committee, we also say, we agree, say there's a need for keep this country together. Yes, we acknowledge, say the country don't become polarized, but we need for do we your part for bring the country together. So we add another layer, which is that for make somebody be declared president, yes, you get 50+1. But the committee recommends, say, if you also get a minimum threshold of 25%, now at least half of the voting districts.
What does that mean?
So that means we get 16 voting districts. I mean, in addition to getting the 50+1, if you also get at least 25% vote, now 8 of the 16 districts.
It should say you get a national outlook.
Yes. But then, I like when you introduce that language there. But then, when we look at them now, yes, we accept that. But when we look at them now, you realize, say, you know, they solve the problem completely. Because the question is always, what are the problem we this guy for solve? You know, solve the problem completely. Because, yes, you go say, SLPP stronghold in southeast, APC stronghold in northwest. Yes, both parties can pull strength na the western area. SLPP being win under Pakaba. APC win under Anes Kuruma, as well as under Samuel Kamara. But SLPP will continue to fight for the votes in the western area. You understand, for CCA, you know, then get them votes in there. So, you watch, say, if either party run the numbers like a stronghold, you still likely forget the half of the voting district that is stronghold. So it doesn't solve the problem. So how we modify this is, instead of 25%, we bring down to 20%. But then the 20% for being at 2/3 of the voting district. So that takes you to, you want to know math, could take you to about 11 of the 16 districts. So come to the language you just introduced in the conversation. Say, you get a president, we get a national appeal. So that encourage political parties forget national agendas. That encourage political parties forget candidates. We get a national appeal. We go beyond the traditional struggle. Make could be sure say, yes, voters beyond your struggle put a bet on you. So now this post here, so
but is that not why also the reform they talk about the PR, you know, being the electoral system will they move on? One of the conversation where the president say we forget now, bringing the PR system into the executive of government. Is that not already why we get the PR for show a national outlook? Usai, you go get SLPP in the northwest, you go get APC in the southeast. You get members of parliament where they represent them.
Of course, it's all about inclusive governance, right? You get an inclusive government. I think the last time I've been there, I've been say this. If I could discuss the president in comment in the context of getting inclusive government. And this
and is it not that what the PR system is about?
But of course, right? But the point that let us say, we're proposing the PR system. First, of course, we're proposing the PR system for the legislature, parliamentary elections. We don't put in here, and I will explain as well if I get a chance to do that. The president said, let's have a genuine dialogue, right, about taking the PR system beyond the legislature, and bringing it into the executive branch of government. But it also add in the paragraph will follow that in a statement. They talk about a government will reflect the gender dynamics of this country, the regional dynamics of this country also. So we get a country where everybody feels everybody believes then a part of the national agenda. But I think it's also important that that be seen in the leadership of the country where they drive this process. That be seen in the president or the presidency. Yes, and where they drive all of the reforms here. So now that we could see when people get in to the voting booth, men are able to place a bet on the person where they want to look at as a national figure.
So is this PR in the presidency? Say you forget 20% from the statistics where you show 11 or so voting districts or 8 or whatever. Is it the PR in the presidency? Say you forget a national appeal, even for the presidency, for cuts across a cohesive government.
Well, yeah, I mean the point that the last part says, I'm not going to say PR in the presidency. But yes, waiting we want that
you need to prove say you get a national appeal.
One for make a candidate prove say it gets a national appeal. It gets an appeal beyond just your own traditional stronghold.
That is exactly that's not the elections, and we see who say political party. Then clearly they say we get you are not on a stronghold again. We get votes now. Yeah, we get vote na the north. SLPP go boastfully say that na Cambia na Koinadugu and other parts. APC go say yeah Pujeung. We get seats in there, we get with people in there as well, and it shows in the elections.
So when you do constitution, they do them just for the next election. You do constitution for something where they outlive me or you. You understand? You do constitution for cement, even the gains we make in practice. We don't want make some of them think so be left just to the will of individuals, or if a good person become president. We want make them think so the effort for keep this country together, make it be cemented in law. We see not the ground norm, we not the national constitution of the country. So make we know say this is something that we get for live by. So not for 2028 now, or the election we go follow, but make we not get a situation that this country will say somebody or party will just able manipulate the numbers that in stronghold decide say are able run victory, not just decide them we me supporters and they decide them we are care about or decide them we care about me. We want to prevent that. So yes, we want a constitution where they stand the test of time, a constitution where go actually protect the investments where we make today. We not for keep this country also together.
So this constitution they propose, the bill, they propose say you for be president in the next election, if it become law in 2028 election, you forget 20% of
a minimum 20%.
A minimum of 20%.
Now at least
it's
two-thirds.
Yeah, we're gonna be
11.
We're gonna be 11.
Yes, of the voting districts
across the country. There is another thing where I ask. This bill, is it just for the 1991 Constitution on elections, or it cover other areas?
No. So this bill specifically now on elections. So basically, what we don't try for doing, like I say, the tripartite process will feed them into the broader constitutional review process, and so we say we take this process to completion. But then that is going to take time, right? We get for take into a referendum. right? Forget a new constitution. But then when it comes to elections, elections are kind of sensitive for everybody. And in the tripartite report, we make a commitment saying some of them reforms here, so we don't undertake them by a specific time. And so we want to keep up to that commitment today. We also want to avoid people treating electoral reforms with suspicion. We want to avoid electoral reforms close to elections, raising tensions, or raising the political temperature in the country. We want the reforms them way they be put in place now. May them come in place, the institutions we get for managing reforms here, so may them test them and really put systems in place on how they can implement them. But also noting, say, as part of a preparation for the next election, you get several other pieces of legislation we need to be reviewed. The Political Parties Act need to be reviewed. The Public Elections Act need to be reviewed. Now, we want to make the Constitution be the anchor, right? If you review that one, then now for prepare for 2028 elections, and then later you review the Constitution we get for those elections, it means you get to go back to the one because there will be consequential amendments.
But this is part of the constitutional review.
So yes, so this is not part of the constitutional review. So what we don't do, we don't decide for face the constitutional review process. We don't decide, say, because of the reasons here, so we I just provide, make we take out the proposals we get for do with elections. Make we pass the one and then now in a separate bill, right? And then the bill go Parliament go debate and vote. And then the one that way Parliament accept now, of course, no guarantee say this bill will go Parliament and they come out of Parliament, right? So Parliament go debate, figure out what you're waiting for accept, and then come out with a law we really supposed to work for the people of this country. But then, just after this pass, we get for continue with the broader constitutional review process. We will make a commitment for take to completion, and in that broader constitutional review process now, we will try for as recommended in the current report and accepted in the white paper, various aspects we go get for review, right? We will strengthen the country in human rights framework. So chapter 2 and chapter 3 go be impacted significantly. We go touch on the sections we get for do with strengthening the judiciary. For CC, we judiciary become more independent. We strengthen the reach of the judiciary for make able respond to the needs of the people in this country. We go introduce other things in the constitution for the first time. Go acknowledge alternative dispute resolution. As a judicial mechanism, as a justice delivery mechanism. We go also get several new chapters in the constitution. There'll be a new chapter on citizenship. There'll be a standalone chapter. There'll be a new chapter on local government because we feel and as Current report recommend, need for strengthen decentralization. That is country also need for remove some of the power of the executive branch and really put them into local government in this country also. We will get a new chapter on public service in this country. We will get a new chapter on national security. We will get a new chapter on land governance and the environment. These will be new chapters, and in addition to all other sections we go review, we believe the nature and character of the 1991 constitution don't change so much that we will call this a new and improved constitution. So
the current Constitutional Review Commission also recommend for referendum on certain sensitive issues.
Yes.
And election issues, the sensitive issues. On this bill, we get anything we get to do with referendum, something I see independent candidates, a proposal on that, and also the committee on elections as well. Anything they we get for go to referendum.
No. So then we also don't put inside also non-entrenched provisions in the constitution. And as we go note in the constitution for non-entrenched provisions, when you want to amend them, you get for just get the bill gazette. There's a procedure, and then of course get them through a 2/3 majority vote parliament. For entrenched provisions, when you want for amend entrenched provisions, the constitution also very clear, section 108 say you get for take them to referendum after parliament don't vote on the bill. So after parliament vote on the bill, you'll have to take that to referendum. But here is where we stand on this. Several entrenched provisions will be impacted. it's more than 20 entrenched provisions will be impacted, right? I can say just, chapter 3 of the Constitution, we're not the human rights section inside the Constitution. There are things that we will touch, right? We don't say publicly, we will draft a new section 27 we get for do with discrimination, right? And close in the gaps in. We don't say we will add a new clause to section 29 we get for the state of public emergency. We will say during the state of public emergency there should be no derogation when it comes to the right to life or the right to be free from torture. We don't say because we don't abolish the death penalty in the 2022 Abolition Act, we go remove that clause in section 16. We talk about somebody everybody get right to life, but in cases we say in the execution of a lawful judgment of the court, if they sentence somebody to death, then it not gonna be a violation of that right. So we remove that clause, but also certain other things the way we don't call socio-economic rights in the past within a chapter 2 of we constitution. We will move them into the human rights section and make them a broader bill of rights, right to education, right to healthcare, that one, and they all go be moved. So then when entrenched provisions, right? So you don't impact. How do you take that into a referendum? It's a challenging process, right? How do you list these, as individual questions? It will be challenging, especially for the voting populace we get. So we own approach and we proposal is that we take all of them entrenched provisions and we go review them, we go revise them, right? Then we'll get new language, you understand? And then noting say the constitution go through such significant changes as I say
after
this process, the nature and character go down change so much that we'll get a new constitution, and the constitution also very clear say if you want to get a new constitution, you take into a referendum, similar to what may happen when the country transitioned from the 1978 one-party constitution to 1991 a multi-party constitution. So we'll take a single question referendum to the
yes or no?
Yes or no to registered voters. That's what we'll do. I also want to add say we don't develop a very ambitious and robust public education program where we do work with the Ministry of Information and Civic Education. We do work with civil society actors for make sure we provide information or education and every provision we they be impacted in this review process here to the public. So one ensures there's public understanding, then we bring the public along. And so by the time where the public they really go into a referendum for vote yes or no, the public will don't get a clear understanding of the provisions where they inside this new and improved constitution. Yeah. So
what's clear is this amendment bill of the 1991 constitution specifically is about elections. Election-related matters.
It's election-related matters.
The appointments of commissioners of the Electoral Commission, other almost percentage you forget for win an election, and also independent candidates, for allow people and for contest as independent candidates.
Exactly.
The removal of the.
We don't be very clear. Say we're gonna provide a very public calendar. All right, we're going to make public a detailed calendar on the constitutional review process. But then, because of discussions with we colleagues in the political space, the APC, other political parties, let me just say all 17 political parties, discussions with the electoral management bodies, and discussions with we development partners, we say, let's get this out of the way. Because we get this out of the way, it also get for inform the calendar going forward. So we don't say the plan was for publish the detailed calendar around now, but we don't advise we say if you put out a calendar now, this process might alter it. So I think say let's lay this bill in Parliament, more get Parliament for debate, take a vote, and then we come out with an amendment act to the 1991 Constitution. So the timing of this also gets implications on the timing for the broader process.
How much should able get buy-in? I get the National Publicity Secretary of the Opposition before you come in. I see you meet with members of the opposition as well at your office, and I get the mayor as well within the tripartite committee. We raise some concerns, they say they get concerns as well. Waiting at the buy-in of this? Like election are very, critical issues for political parties, especially if in opposition. What's in the buying of the review, the amendments of this part of the constitution?
So first, I get for not say, when I highlight the aspects we come from the tripartite process, people gonna say this is not a government creation, and of course the parts will come from the Cowan report. So one problem that we don't get for deal with throughout this process. Internal party outreach don't be a problem. I feel say when we engage with them processes here, so we also get for make with party members they know say we take ownership of the proposals with the inside. For example, if like when my brother say then get concerns about the proposal for make independent candidates run for election, that's an example. Because if internal party outreach they take place, we APC family, or make us say we brothers and sisters at the APC, we have been part of the tripartite process, go able to tell the leadership and membership say this is a proposal that we pushed for as representatives of our party.
So the APC pushed for the independent candidate?
So here's what I don't get for do. When it comes to the tripartite report, I don't decide say I know they talk about would I push for this, would I not push for this. Because the tripartite report now being APC.
But usually you red and green pen for highlights would I push waiting which recommendation they will say and which recommendation they will say.
Well, I mean not I mean on that I would run for this bill.
Yeah.
But on that on the tripartite report I know put color as to which party recommend this, whether not APC or government. I say when it comes to the tripartite report, na collective responsibility.
Okay.
I think it remarkable that when you look at this country in history, right, 11 years civil war, and then more than 20 years later, we get 5 elections. 2 of those elections lead to transfer of power to the opposition, and then yes, we continue to get disagreement, but when we get the disagreement, we not go back to what may happen more than 20 years ago. We sit down around the table, and when we sit down around the table, 2 parties, we don't be at each other's throat, I go say, in this political space for the longest time, able agree on 80 recommendations. That's a good example for the continent.
The independent candidates.
So that's one of the things that we agree on. The provision or the proposal for make independent candidates run for election. Now, one of the things that we agree on, now the tripartite committee, both parties agreed. And it as one of the proposals. That is why it is here. I don't talk with people inside me own government and me own party. We not like that provision there. Just like I'm a board CDA say just now. But I tell them, say, this is something both parties agree to. Now, of course, when you say bring other people along buying, there are other political parties, because this political space not only about SLPP and APC. There are other political parties we're supposed to be part of this process, and we don't try to bring them come along. When I talk about proposals, we take step for modify. That are one of the things that we take step for modify the proposal for make independent candidates able run. And what we take steps for make slight modifications or amendments in. Now exactly for response to what my brother CDA Tunis say na yaso. Say it go open the floodgates, you can get 200 independent candidates, etc. That is why we don't add language say if somebody they run as independent candidate, yes, it get for be somebody we're not a member of political party. And then the person also get for demonstrate strong financial and community support as prescribed by law. So what we want now for make parliament, make we all get this discussion, parliament prescribe in law waiting a financial and community support. So for some countries, for make you run as a candidate, you get to get a specific number of people who they put their signature and take a bet on you. So we can say for making you run as independent candidate, you supposed to provide evidence, say about 10,000 voters or 5,000 registered voters don't put a bet on you. Then when you know that things that we can provide as safeguards them. Or this might go parliament, we all elected representatives say, you know, we don't want independent candidates, then they remove them. But we don't do your own part. We don't count waiting. The tripartite report recommend, and we don't put another bill just for make sure say we're not hiding anything.
Yeah. You know, the thing is, with the independent candidates, the strong financial issues and community support, why would I not extend that to political parties as well? Say, political parties need for sure, political parties then they will contest elections. We don't get this conversation, say, you know, then can come after the election and don't lose. You know, you understand.
Well, you know,
there's the issue of the registration as well.
So at the count of the registration, you know, the point is, Lama. So first, if you go to the Political Parties Act, it's very clear about the kind of strength with political parties and for sure, in terms of membership, the presence with them
for the official side
across the country.
Yeah, that would be a very serious challenge.
That is it's not a proposal that I particularly like, because I feel say it shrink the space. I feel say political parties, you know, for able function, even if they want to concentrate in a particular region for protect the interest of that particular region or that demographic day. Whether they say they interest in persons with disability, whether they say they interest in environmental issues, etc. Therefore able. So when we put all of the requirements in there, it becomes burdensome on them. But that is the law, right? But the other thing we'll get for note is, you know, when people say, oh, political parties, they disappear just after elections, that's really not the case. Because the point is, you know, because we get a system, we're dominated by two giants, right? The SLPP and the APC. Then they overshadow completely, if you will say, the smaller parties. But that don't mean say the smaller parties they disappear, because since I don't join government, I joined government in 2023. Since I don't join government, I don't do a lot of engagements. We say all 17 political parties are present. So that's not a system we say they disappear. Each time we convene a meeting for discuss constitutional amendments or review of the electoral system, all 17 political parties are there fully represented by more than one person. We don't get engagements with them. Sometimes the same political parties who they see as smaller political parties who feel say they disappear after election, they don't take positions on certain issues, they don't submit them positions to government. For example, when we get the tripartite committee, they come together, they developed a position paper, they came to the tripartite committee. They state their own position paper. Matter of fact, they even complain say we had excluded them from the process. So these are people who still want to be on the stage. They still want to remain there and continue to represent the views of their own constituency, however small those constituents are. Right? So that not to a situation we are in, you see, then disappear. When PPRC they convene the political parties liaison committee meeting, all of these political parties are present. Matter of fact, I will tell you this. I don't go meetings then, where sometimes the people that were absent at the meetings then, are the representatives from APC or SLPP. But these smaller parties are always there. So they not disappear. So I think, say, we need to make sure, say, we get a space, we say, then they participate more. And that brings me to the recommendation on the registering political parties.
So what's in the recommendation on that?
So the recommendation from the tripartite process, one of course there's a concern similar to by members of the committee, similar to what you don't raise. And so there's this recommendation, see, if a political party go 2 elections and not win seats in local government or at parliamentary level, then for deregister, because the idea was more not get parties where they exist just a name, like you know the concern we raise. But really, so we put them now, so because we want to say we are not hiding anything. And again, it comes to the point we are being raised earlier, saying, if you look at this bill, not just we own creation, we have drafted, but all waiting the inside now waiting come out of tripartite process or waiting come out of the Kawan process. So that is why even that that proposal is here. But government has a position. on that proposal.
It's not a government position.
Government position is there because we agreed on it, but it is not a position that we support as government. Because, as we don't discuss with President, the President believes, and members of the government believe, say, political parties exist for reasons more than just winning elections. Political parties also exist for represent the views of the minority. The minority is supposed to get a stake in government. Political parties, they exist for make the whole government to account for several other things very important to the country. So yes, a proper for make political parties operate even if they don't win elections. So what if they do now how for broaden the space, how for strengthen them political parties also instead of shrinking the space. We feel say by the registering political parties just because they don't win election, we shrink that space, they will tighten the space, you understand? And then it's even a provision where it might be abused down the road, whether not 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road, it might be abused. So yes, government position is that it's not a proposal that we support. We feel say political parties for still registered even if they don't win elections at local government or national
Talking
or national
about
level.
political parties and elections. So this amendment bill, they propose a permanent removal of the first past the post and just stick to PR system as a country.
Correct. Then I'm waiting with the proposal, and I will explain
And
this.
it gets scheduled.
Well, so now that we don't put say whether threshold now be determined in a separate law. I think the conversation don't focus too much on whether for the first past the post or PR. We want the conversation shifts now to what kind of PR. Because even in this country, right, we don't do in the 6 elections we don't get under the 91 constitution. We don't use first past the post 3 times. We don't use PR system 3 times. And in PR system, the first time we used in 96, we use the wartime model, right? This entire country now be a single block. And then in 2002 and 2023, we use the district block system. So just Nasalon, tell you see there are variations of PR. So sometimes when you discuss PR, people feel so, I just one formula. No. Majority of the world's democracies, they practice some form of PR. And as I don't say publicly, in a lot of the countries, we say people, and the data shows that people are happy with an electoral system, with a governance system, with a democracy, in our countries, then we get PR over first past the post. So we don't consider all of those. But then we also consider other processes. We consider, say, the Kawan Constitutional Review Committee, when it do all the consultations from 2013 to 2017, one of the recommendations then we make, now that this country for transition permanently to the PR system. That and government accept that in the white paper. And then I also say, look, I get before me a document where the National Women's Conference submit after the Kawan report, we say, then prepare within we call the Women's Manifesto. And in the Women's Manifesto, they lay out 16 key things we then feel say important to women, we government for include in the Constitution. One of them things then they would also recommend, they say for ensure peace and cohesion in this country. Because of course they know say when violence day in elections, it affects women the more. So for ensure peace and cohesion in the country, we for they say the proportional representation system for be entrenched in the Constitution. So broad appeal been there. Of course, a lot of things don't happen since then. That is why we need to have a discussion about what kind of PR. Now, some people say also
the conversations about what kind of PR, and not whether we want proportional representation or first past the post. That is what this is proposing, right?
Yes,
just PR.
So you are glad we seen a proposal. This not to by force. They go to government. They go to parliament.
Yeah, but first past the post, no, did it?
No, so basically, waiting when they take to parliament is that we propose we transition to PR. Because government supports that, there are a lot of reasons why PR better for this country. I don't explain them one in day. But also
you had consultations.
Yeah.
You know that people and believe say no. Let's still get.
And I can't do that. So
Yeah.
the point is that I say those are existing processes, and I go back to what I've been saying earlier. Processes and we come later. For example, the tripartite process, not come for override or for undo the broader constitutional review process, and come for complement them. And in the tripartite process, I can say the mistake what the tripartite committee make, and this now both government representatives and the APC, we not recommend one model. Tripartite not recommend say may the country do PR or may the country do first past the post. Tripartite recommend say let's have a national dialogue,
yeah.
on a preferred electoral system. And so government says, yes, we'll do a national dialogue. Government takes steps for convening a national dialogue, but we even add another layer to it. The other layer we'll add to the national dialogue, we say, before we get national dialogue, let's move across the country. Let's have consultations, right, across the country. So we do consultations. Of course, the consultations, not to be facilitator. We hand the process over to 3 facilitators, right? Valnora Edwin, Jope Magbi, well, the alternate elections expert, known in this country and respected internationally. And then we get a 3rd person, we an international elections expert, and not to be selector, right? Now, international ideas, we support the consultation process, and then recommend them, and then we take them. So those 3 people, we give them free hand. They move across the country, get regional consultations, and then close them with a national dialogue. And then they submit a report. Submit the report to me as Attorney General. When I receive the report, as part of transparency, we decide as government, say we share with all stakeholders. The steering committee, we get oversight over the implementation of the tripartite report, share and they. Political party leadership within APC, development partners, we share. And if you look at that report, I'll share a summary with you and the full report itself. But if you look at the report not really, after the consultations, then the report not recommend one system over the other. The report not come back and tell we say this country also prefer first past the post, or this country also prefer the PR system. The report say some people, without stating the percentage, prefer first past the post and stadiumism. Some people, without stating the percentage, prefer the PR system and stadiumism and say, but if we do PR system, make we reduce the threshold. Some people, without stating the percentage, say, let's have a hybrid system. So we don't take that report. So at some point, government, what make they elect government for make it function? Government has to take a position. Government has to drive a reform, the reform process. So when we take waiting come from the Cowan report, we take waiting come from the National Women's Conference in the Women's Manifesto. When we take waiting come out of this consultative process, and clear examples, I can let for say, in fact, one particular district day where the committee reached, the women them, now the district, they decided to speak as a team. It was a group of women who say, now local council and they, some from APC, some from SLPP. They spoke as a team. They don't make say one person go talk for it and kind of take the stage as a team. They say we, SLPP and APC women in this council, na PR na make there. And because we know say na PR make there, when we ready with the hang heads for waiting good for we councils, we take a position. Yes, and we agree with each other. We come, we drive that particular policy day, we go implement and we cancel. That's a good example for Amplify. So when we look at all issues and the government decides say it will propose waiting really reflective of the broader views.
Yeah, but the broader views where you say with the consultation we now all recently, not give percentage of who that wants PR or who that wants first past the post. Why not put that to the people's representatives, the members of parliament? That is what we've done. But you've put PR. That is what the government.
You know, take a bill to parliament without a position. You know, take a bill to parliament and go tell parliament, say, okay, we now decide whether first past the post or PR.
So why not have a hybrid? We possibly go get both sides
so that now the conversation we want get. Right? So we don't say what we don't put inside here now that elections go be done through proportional representation, but don't add say the specific type of PR, including the method of nomination, the method of election, make that be prescribed in a separate law by Parliament. It might be so someone put on the Public Elections Act, or might say make we get a stand-alone legislation. So that discussion now can take whether yes that PRD for include some hybrid elements. Whether that PRD, some people don't complain, say they not feel like say they get a say in whether they represent them. In some countries, we get PR, before they even prepare the list, they run open primaries. The voters at the constituency or district level or the regional level, now then they determine who gets on the list. Is that what we want to do? That are the discussion we want to get. In some other countries, the list they come, but now open list system. What we don't get now this country, now closed list system. You take the party cannot prepare a list. But in other countries, you get an open list. So when voters go, they actually see the names where they on the list, then they select the name who they want. And then when the Electoral Commission counts, now based on the percentage with the voters, we the percentage of votes, now they determine how they allocate the seats to the party. Those are all methods. So what we want, now for make we say, yes, let's close this discussion. We know in a peer we go, and then let's now come and have a conversation. We all come and get a conversation.
Government position is we need to go on PR. We need to go PR.
That is government's proposal.
Yeah. So in this
bill. So we go to PR, but then we all get a discussion now on the type of PR we will be good for this country.
Let me look at the removal of the vice president following party resignation, expulsion. This been the part of the process where you don't talk about the Peter Tucker, the Cowan, the tripartite. Is it part of on a government position? Because the whole issue about the removal of the vice president can be a national conversation after the Samsumana and Esbai Kuruma issue. This is not part of the recommendations of the process where you don't explain earlier how it all started?
Yes, so this is one of the recommendations we Cowan be make in the Cowan constitutional review process. For really ensure say a president not use in powers for remove an elected vice president. So they may say for closer gap day after the Supreme Court judgment, right? But also when we discuss this in the tripartite committee, then will be one of the recommendations we will make. So within people and see again, not to we on creation as government. This now a creation of two processes recommended by the Cowan committee, in fact, better articulated by the tripartite committee, right? Will not be one of the tripartite recommendations. Now don't put now. So for CC, when people don't elect a president or vice president, the possibility of removing that person there from office now rests in the hands of few political leaders, as we see what may happen in the Samsumana case. Wherein Samsumana was expelled from among the APC, and then that become a reason for removal and say don't cease for qualify. So we're basically saying, what the tripartite committee recommend we don't put inside this bill, now that if somebody lose a membership now the political party, that no go automatically disqualify him from continuing to serve as president of vice president. However, it go trigger the removal proceedings we laid out in the constitution, not parliament. That now we don't recommend.
So parliament to get the power now.
Yeah, parliament will get. So the constitution laid out very clearly how you move a president or vice president. So we say you go trigger that process there. You understand?
So it's not going to be court matter again?
No, we're not going to say, it only become a court matter because Samsumana challenged him.
Yeah.
That is what happened.
Yeah, but there's a process where not only the person go pronounce someone say, I don't remove this person.
That is what we're saying.
There's a process where
there's a process now where Parliament will get now for make sure, say, we follow that process there. And we laid out in the constitution as to how you remove a president or vice president. So that way, we make sure, say, the mandate where the voters give, that mandate did not be reversed by a few political actors.
So there's this other part of, a committee for the appointment of commissioners. I remember we get this conversation earlier, before now, where that instead of the president just announce people where go be electoral commissioners, there is a committee where go put out application, people apply, they recommend to the president. But what's happening in the region is that the president they appoint members of this committee, right?
Well, the point is that we say the president will constitute a search committee, a search and nomination committee. So that search and nomination committee they go do the search and nominate to the president, and then the president appoints from that. I think it's the question where I don't get for face now. Who that they appoint the members them. We say the president will constitute a search and nomination committee. Yeah,
that's still giving president the power.
Yeah.
So not directly appoint the commissioners, but the members of the committee, right?
So presidents they appoint committees all the time. Right? Matter of fact, people even ignore the fact say we say inside the constitution, you know, we say the president they receive advice from a constituted committee on a particular issue, and not even bound by the advice. People that fail to realize that as per the constitution. The constitution say whether they go with that advice or not, you know, not until we go take legal action against. So the president has enormous powers, but they try to reduce them powers and put some in the hands of other actors. But the point is, what we say, Nayaso, as recommended in tripartite committee, may the president constitute such a nomination committee with representation from various groups, you know, and also Michael Fate say, what will they do? We're taking some powers from an elected body, the presidency, and we put some of them powers in the in the hands of unelected bodies, the interreligious community, we don't say the legal community, etc., etc. So that self will go for make sure say you understand them systems and they work to the right people. They represent them groups and they. Now the question has been, tripartite been say interreligious council. Now we say interreligious community. Tripartite been say the bar association. Now we say the legal community, etc., etc. I think so. One of the things that we will get for acknowledge is we could not try to solve one problem that will create another problem. We get for manage this process in a way, or that we not open political battlefronts and then groups in there as well, because you might be faced with a situation wherein as we go close to election or close to the appointment of an electoral commissioner. These bodies might become political battlefronts as well, right? And so you want a process, and we'll work with Parliament on how we strengthen this language after all consultations with various actors. For CC, yes, you don't want a situation where, the president, they just choose whatever he wants, but it might be a situation wherein the communities or the groups might nominate individuals into the committee.
When
and then the president
influence.
Well,
we do affect the process, like you
so the point is that how do we win in this? Right? Because if you put them again in the hands of the groups themselves, you just raise a point, say that will be treated with suspicion, right? Say those individuals who they nominate might be politically influenced, or if the president asks and say, "When I send 3 nominees each, make me select the people for the part of this committee." People might say again that could be influenced. At the same time, if we say make them just nominate individuals, the political battlefronts will not open. So we really need a common sense conversation about this and get a system we go work for this country also. Now we get other problems we get for do with this particular proposal. For example, in discussions I don't get with political parties they complain, say we have removed them from the process. They want to be part of this process.
Because the aspect of consultation.
That is the point.
But that has always been a confusion as well between the Udadena power and the main opposition most time about what consultation is and how to do consultation.
So now that makes some people basically feel, say, I don't get people that don't say to me, maybe a better way for going for me could define consultation in the constitution. Yes, and then we save ourselves all this headache because the constitution don't really define consultation. Tell we whether consultation includes you have a meeting with them, you understand, you get discussion, then they tell you what they want, or you nominate to them, you ask them for provide feedback within a certain number of days, or whether consultation includes if you consult with if you engage the leadership of all registered political parties, whether you take the majority feedback, you understand, for be reflective in the decision we go make. We not only out all of that. So some people basically say maybe the solution to this is to properly define consultation and then we move with that. So yes, I think this is, we accept, say this now one of the challenging provisions where we get for deal with in terms of engagement with political parties, engagement with the public, engagement with members of parliament. So yes, we have made a proposal. We're happy for getting discussions here. So we're happy for receive feedback from people. We're happy for receive feedback from political actors. We're happy for go parliament and make sure say the feedback we will receive included in the discussions we would get with members of parliament. At the end of the day, members of parliament, now we elected representatives, we can also take with views to them. And then, all them things and they go be reflected in the new debate and the vote we then go take on what this particular provision here so for look like.
So, but waiting on the proposal right now that the power still lay with the president for the committee, for appoint the committee where they do the search and get names and we then go present to the president.
Well, the current situation is the power rests with the president for appoint after consultations.
Yes, I mean the proposal from the bill. The proposal on the bill is that the president get this power still go there with the president for appoint that committee.
The president will constitute the committee. That is what we have suggested.
Okay. I want to ask about fixed election dates. And as well transition process. I think that now one of the conversation they would only get. How do we fix elections and also say, okay, between this time to this time, if we don't get handing over of power and the ceremony and how we forgo. Is that part of the proposal as well?
Yes, it's part of the proposal. Again, from Kawan in report, Justice Kawan report, as well as from the tripartite process, also just say, let's have a fixed date for elections. Because you also don't want a situation wherein, the dates they be at the discretion of the president. Of course, really, when we get this conversation, we get them with honesty. Excuse me. The practice is the president set the date. So we always don't get this 3 months window after the last election. But really, let's be honest, say the last time we left this thing open, so the former president actually dragged them for 1 year. Remember?
Yeah, then extend.
Nobody no extend.
So it just happened normal. Until when they announced the date.
Yes.
Okay.
Nobody no extend.
Parliament no get fixed dates now.
Yes.
The president get for announce.
Yes, Parliament no extend the life of government.
Okay.
You understand? But the president been drag them, then get a reminder, people then call. You understand? And then eventually set the date. But that you can say EBK do 11 years instead of 10. And so you been drag the process. You don't want a situation like that anymore. I think predictability for there should be certainty. People be very clear on when we get elections. Now this country so every 5 years. So we not get a situation where a president decides say, not today, not my birthday, not that day our more election. You understand? We don't want that situation. So we put a fixed date. And these are proposals as well. From them two processes here, so we don't speak to this bill. The Common Constitutional Review Committee report as well as the tripartite report, we say let's have a fixed date for election in this country so every 5 years, and that we don't put inside the bill.
Inclusive of the transition process?
Well, yeah, inclusive. So these are the transition process we don't put. Of course, the current practice is that once they announce the results, they say the next minute.
Yeah, for do this.
So basically, if we get to a situation wherein they announce the results at 11:59 p.m., 12 midnight, we will swear in the president. We'll not go wait till morning. It affects transition. You understand? It affects transition. I think, with democracy need for grow. And so that make recommended in this bill that you get a transition window wherein the outgoing president get a chance for do proper transition to the incoming president. But also important that we get that window there for allow time for deal with petitions. So would I ever get problem with the election results? Can file a petition. Some people don't complain, so if you don't announce president, you don't swear in, you understand? Already in authority, you understand? And so the judiciary will take it in time or whatever,
Allegiance.
Yes. Yeah, but the point is that, of course, we get a country, I think as we don't put in the constitution, or as we get in the current constitution, and as we put for strengthening the judicial process, the judiciary is an independent institution. The judiciary not get allegiance to a president. The judiciary get allegiance to the people. We constitute them for making we constitute the judiciary for making them deliver justice, and for making them deliver justice for the people. It's an independent arm of government, and so the judiciary also, supposed to be an institution where they put checks on government. That is why government can lose case in the courts. People didn't pay attention to that. But then we want to make sure the perception where some people get say, once somebody don't become president of the judiciary get for you get for clear up all of that. So let's have a decent window wherein people can file petition.
3 days. I say the when they propose 3 days.
Well, yeah. So the current law says 7 days. But then we say 3 days. Some people don't misunderstand them for say, oh, we don't say 3 days is blanket. We're only saying if we go into if now an election were to go into a runoff. Take note, say when I've been saying earlier that we move from the 55% threshold. We look at the requirements we don't put for make somebody win the presidency. You reduce the chance of a runoff. You don't eliminate it completely, but you reduce the chance, right? So in an election, we will say the parties, the top 2 candidates therefore go into a runoff. If anybody gets issues with that election result, then you get 3 days. But in other situations wherein a winner don't be declared, then the 7 days where they in the law continue for apply. So that 3 days now only for election where they go into a runoff. Okay. But whether it's that 3 day window or it's a petition where them file within the 7 day window, we want to make sure now the judiciary able for deal with this matter also within 14 days.
Okay. There is this one way very important. The bill, the mandate for 30% women nominees for election, you know, and with political parties and even where, you know, with waiting we get to right now, the number don't increase, but waiting at the mechanism for ensure say the bill gets any proposal for ensure say political party they adhere to this.
So basically, yes, what would they say now that once you don't put it, so it inside an act of parliament right now, the Give Act, right, where say minimum, say for elective and appointive positions, minimum 30% should be women, right? But they will not get inside the constitution. So this will be a TRC recommendation. This will be a recommendation in the Cowan report, right? This now also one of the things that we the National Women's Conference raised now the Women's Manifesto. So it should be reflected in the constitution. This now also one of the recommendations where the tripartite committee makes if we can the constitution. So when you put them at the constitution, you ensure say there's broader compliance, right? So what thing will happen? Political parties now therefore be required for make them constitution then reflect what's in the national constitution. But then it goes beyond just putting this in the constitution. It gets to really putting mechanisms in place. So you not get a situation wherein we go into an election, but you get the risk of women not being elected, right? The last time we get an election, when we say 3 out of every 3 candidates, 1 for be woman, you realize say some parties they put woman in name number 3. Yeah. So that reduces the risk for woman in the woman then
so
the election.
You not get vote.
Exactly. So if you take a district, we get 4 representatives. Yeah. Right. If let us say the parties put the woman, the female candidate 3, then the 2 parties, let us say 2 dominant parties end up for win 2 seats. Right. Woman not will be represented in that district. That's member Falaba. Right. So you don't want that situation, but we also need for make political parties understand. So when we say minimum, no means a number 3 woman for day. It is okay if all 3 names are women. It is okay if a political party fill candidates with all in candidates and women. Yeah. Let's get used to that. Yeah. Let's accept that. You understand? You know. So people like elect for say, oh, na 30% quota, 30% quota. No, we say minimum 30%. You understand? And we also get for drive the discussion. People know say, in fact, when the TRCB recommend this, it been talk about progressive representation. It happens say, now very late, you know, when President Bioka na office, now it come and put that particular TRC recommendation there in place. But if we been put that in place, now been 10 years. After 10 years, we don't even go above the minimum 30% as recommended by the TRC. Yeah. So these are conversations we need to forget. But also, what we get for do when you look at what we put at the inside the Political Parties Act and the Public Elections Act, we go beyond just saying if we be 30%, minimum 30% woman. Yeah. We go move to the step of really putting requirements for waiting we need for do for make the space friendly for women's participation. It will therefore mean say we remove or eliminate candidate fees for women them. It will therefore mean say we make commitment and put systems in place so women are not subjected to violence, you know, when they get into elections. And when we talk about violence, we don't only talk about physical violence. We talk about violence with the cyberspace as well, because online abuse or whatever. Because I didn't say they make them difficult for women them for step up and they the public space. Of course, you get very good women them. We don't able for challenge the stereotypes. We don't able for they out there and on the space. I think we need for do more of that. You understand? We need for use the women and they as good examples. But then we demand themselves. We get for no say violence in any form, whether it's online or whether it's physical, emotional, psychological, it's unacceptable, because now then things they make it difficult for women and for participate in the public space. So we got to make sure say we lost them the other level. They talk about consequential legislation. Yes, and when you pass them also, it will get impact on other pieces of legislation when we will put all them things also in place for really make them possible for make women them able for participate. And then when we say participation, not to token, not to favor. You understand? Make sure say it's participation. We say we accept say if not woman in the majority, that is okay. That is all right for this country.
So when you table this bill?
Well, we got to work with the calendar and parliament, not to make it the calendar. We got to work with the clerk of parliament. We of clerk they work with leadership of parliament for roll out a calendar as to when the privilege will happen, and then when we will do first reading, second reading, when the committee go look at them, etc., etc. So we'll work with Parliament for roll out a calendar, and the public will be.
But you get timeline as a ministry, as a government, when I get timeline on when you want to achieve this.
Well, yeah, one for achieve this like yesterday, if left with me alone, you understand. But the point is that to understand, say, by law, Parliament regulates itself, So of course, government in preference and for make sure, say, we get this done now, you understand, whether not this month or by next month latest, we've done them. But Parliament regulates itself, and then they roll out the calendar. But we want to do one quick because it gets implications on other things that we for do. I mentioned the broader constitutional review process. I also mentioned other reforms that we need for pursue. But I think say there's a commitment on Parliament in part for make sure they then deal with this as soon as possible.
So the possibly the window for public participation or consultation will be we go Parliament now. We wanna get the we possibly get for go present to them. The committee, the legislative, the committee stage, right?
No, that window is open now. Okay. I think people, the point is that sometimes you can say, I don't like to discuss this in the context of credit, because really, when you're doing a public service, doing the right thing is what you're there to do. But look, the practice is when you draft a bill, you gazette the bill. Like you been say earlier, people for going to government bookshop and go get the gazette. But because this is important, we take a step, say in addition to the gazette, we also send this electronically. We put them out. Remember, maybe
it wasn't leaked.
It wasn't leaked. No, it wasn't leaked. So matter of fact, make I explain this to people. So we're working on the website for the constitutional review process, right? So but what's happen now that we want for announce this at the website, but with timeline for complete the website and put them online was affected. So what we did was myself, the Minister of Information and Civic Education, the Chief Minister, we got a discussion with His Excellency the President. You understand? Other actors were in the room. You understand? In government, we got a discussion with His Excellency the President, and the President say, this is so important. You understand? With commitment to transparency. If I be seen in this process. And so after that discussion we decide to say, since the website not done it, let's send it out to the public. And so now that make we get all these discussions. So the Kekta money self we government printer for don't make. As I don't deprive government printer that Kekta money day. You understand? Exactly. Then all my phone. But we like the debate. This is exactly what in governance is about. You understand? We like the debate, we like the feedback. Because as we don't say repeatedly, we want to make this constitution be for the people. We want to make this constitution be something where the people go on as their own. So yes, the window is open now. Me don't receive feedback from people. You understand? We don't see backlash. We see the willingness for engage. You understand? On the NTSO. And it's out there. I also tell people, right? Of course, we don't people and they out there with the prepare position papers where they go submit to we.
People can still do that. You don't able engage. I see you get meeting and they ask back with the opposition APC. Waiting at the response or reaction to the consultation or meeting we want to get with them on this?
Well, the point is that I think it was good. It was a good meeting. We talk about the need for work together. We talk about the need for keep this as a very open process. We talk about the need for make we all own this process, because look, the APC also acknowledge two things. Then the APC acknowledge say significant part of this bill now a product of the young creation. And the APC been set up the Justice Kawan Constitutional Review Committee. Now the recommendations there. The second part of it is the tripartite process. Now we and the APC sit down. You understand? Significant part of this now a product of waiting the APC self-suggest. So really, they own this as much as we do. I think we all for work together now.
For make sure disagreement.
I don't know if we get disagreement.
Did they raise concerns in a meeting? They raise concerns on things where you think say legitimate, so something on a go on for address moving forward.
The point is that we'll not get into the specifics yet. You understand? I think we don't get a discussion. The studied document, they'll come back with feedback on specific proposals. Like I say, certain things and they we maybe then go say make we tweak so or make we not tweak so. You understand? They don't say they'll come back and we'll go that discussion there. I think it was good. For first, make we all acknowledge say this is not something we're all able to take ownership of. And then two, we agree say the people, the interest and for they are the center of all of this. And three, we agree say for we make this work for the people who are at the center of this, we need for work together. As much as we'll get disagreement on certain things, when we discuss, we will find common ground, and that common ground will be reflected in the reforms that will be pursue.
So if this bill pass, waiting at the timeline for implementation, and if there are concerns as well in this process, how could they be addressed? So
the point is that of course, if concerns they're going to be addressed in Parliament, and then of course Parliament will come out with waiting will be the law itself, because that's Parliament's mandate. That will be Parliament the mandate. But in terms of implementation, when we discuss with Parliament will study this bill as well. Parliament will determine whether then we're all coming to effect now, or whether certain provisions then require transition clauses. Where you put a timeline, say this comes into effect at so and so time, or when the broader constitutional review process is completed, etc.
But the plan is to this go lead with to the 2028 election.
Yes, the plan is
or the referendum.
Yes, the plan would be for make a significant part of them will also influence how we conduct 2028, but then all will be part of what goes into the referendum.
Is the plan also that we could get referendum before 2028 elections?
So we're doing consultations right now on when would be a good time for get a referendum. Yes, one option, I forget them before 2028. The other option, I've actually get them alongside the 2028 election.
Mm-hmm. So finally, how this go? Every other election, like you say, President Bill say, we in Bilow's election, there were SLPP get concerns. Every other election cycle, we getting concerns there. How this go strengthen we democracy, electoral process and governance? We will get to a point say, yeah, like I say earlier, constitution not to think way then they touch so quick one. What's in the assurance that you're leading this and it's an opportunity, like you say, public service. We remember tomorrow Bambai say now Alpha Sisen have been the AG will lead this process, and we get a process, we get a new law where don't address we problem. Then what's in the assurance to the public?
Well, this is a commitment to the making law. But the law therefore be followed by institutional strengthening. And so that is why if you take the ECSL, we don't subject them to a functional management review. The first time that has been done, don't open the process, and a report don't be presented for how we strengthen systems within the ECSL. So this not to be done in isolation. This to be done alongside other reforms will happen, both in terms of law as well as institutions. We feel when we look at this as a whole package, it will strengthen the electoral architecture in this country also. It is good that a lot of them proposals are also reflective of the people and views about within elections for look like or how for conduct election. That's not how we for make law. We for make sure say laws they really respond to people and needs them, or they reflect within people and perspectives or views on certain issues where they affect them. When we do that, implementation easier. So yes, when we put this together as a full package, it will help we for conduct elections in a credible manner. It will help we for hold institutions, including we electoral institutions, accountable to the public. It will strengthen oversight over we electoral system in this country also. It will give space for make the judiciary able for make determination, including on election cases in ways we acceptable to everybody. And when the judiciary does that, when the judiciary does that, people build faith in the system itself. When people get disagreement on something, they'll prefer for use the courts instead of using other alternatives. I think when we do all of that, we'll get a system we go work for we in this country. So a system where we all go build trust in, where go help we for elect the leaders and we're supposed to represent we. We go help we for keep this country also together. We go help we for live in a peaceful society. And nothing say when we keep the country together, when we live in a peaceful society, it gets direct impact on the social services we were supposed to enjoy. It gets direct impact on how we grow the economy, how people are able for really be part of the development way government supposed to provide for them.
How will you want to be remembered at the end of this whole process where you lead at this time?
I always say when I left this office, I want to be remembered as Alpha say the Attorney General will make the system here to work for the people. I want to be remembered as an Attorney General will do this work here so for the people of this country. Yeah.
Yes. I think we go close now. Yeah, and I want to thank you very much for taking your time. I think we've been on the discuss. At least people need for know. I think one thing we'll go do is how do we get this document on our socials and let people see them and read them and understand. And I think it's time we begin engage with members of parliament to anthem. Then process here, we need for truly be part of them, because if we're not addressing the concerns they will get at this time, then we'll go to other, election cycle and the same concerns. But one final question that I will ask you. We get a lot of issues that we get for do with, is it the states against certain people? Cases that we can say they na DPP office, they to DPP. Some involve alleged murder case, alleged cases and plenty, how that process they can work. Waiting, you get data of the number of cases they want to get. One of the things that you don't talk about, so you don't talk about, don't listen. Now that people don't forget trust in the judicial system, the processes, and get justice on time, not delay, keep people in certain time. If you read the audit report, we get a lot of people in the audit report, a lot of people in the waiting at Pademba Road for minor cases or prolonged detention, and then cases then they in a DPP and all of that.
So thank you for that question. I think so even connect to the last question you asked me, I want to be remembered. I'd always say I want to be remembered as the Attorney General will do this work also for the people. And that is why the approach has been saying we reform efforts people-centered. A justice delivery process with a response to the needs of the people of this country. I think say within they try for say that we need for see justice as service where the government they provide to the people of this country. And when you provide service for the people of this country, the people need forget faith in that service they provide for them. It's like healthcare, a service where government they provide for the people. So that is why when people go hospital, they want to be sure say doctor get for see them. They want to be sure say if not headache, then go for get the medicine for their headache, or if not surgery they need, then go for get the necessary treatment, and then get that surgery done. If they not get time, waiting they happen the next time when they know when they get issues, then they go to hospital. They'll go to traditional medicine, or they'll decide to take care of themselves, right? That is how we get for look at the justice system. You need an institution where they really respond to people in justice needs, because when people in justice needs not met through the courts, waiting they happen when they need the courts or when they need justice, then will take the law into their own hands. Then will give up on the system. When they give up on the system, it get that implications for the country. They affect the country in peace and cohesion. It affect the country in economy as well. So that is why we say yes, we need for rebuild with systems. Now, how this system has to work for we inside office. So the DPP is served within the office of the Attorney General and Minister of Justice. A good for clarify say the DPP not get investigating powers. The Attorney General not get investigating powers. That's how we system structured. I can try to explain to people and say this country has so the whole system structured. Now police then they investigate. When police investigate, they move the file to the Attorney General in office, and then the DPP in team. They review the file. Now the DPP in advice, where they go back, they be determined by the substance we did inside this file also. Now sometimes if the evidence there, we will send advice say, evidence there for file charges against this person and this person and this person. If evidence not there, we will provide the advice say the evidence not there. Now sometimes it might be say now several questions we will get. We will send them questions and they. Sometimes we will say in this statement they mention this person in name. When I go talk to this person, we'll do all of that. Try to guide the process. Then come. If then come back, the evidence strong, we go charge. So sometimes it's easy for say a day to the DPP or now the DPP advise this, but the DPP in decision making on this they be informed by waiting come inside the file.
Well, I want to expedite the process as well for making una get the capacity, human resource, human capacity.
Well, we're growing. We're growing. So first, now for not say the team they do tremendously well under challenging circumstances, right? Sometimes we can talk about the problems na Freetown, but we also need to discuss in the context of upcountry, right? We say you get state council, we go for cover large districts, right? So it comes with your own challenge. So there are certain things we try for do. We try for grow, we recruit more state council, so we'll get more people when they do this work here soon. We try for shortening response time. Now that make we enact the Criminal Procedure Act. When we enact the Criminal Procedure Act, you see say yes, it put a time on how long investigations they take. We reflected in within the Constitution, but also it puts a time on a determination of whether the person is stand trial or not. So you not get this open-ended thing wherein you will say, oh, they filed it to the DPP. The DPP self get time, right? And then when it go to court, everything is timed now. You understand? For CC from the time when the person take a plea to the matter for be concluded, everything timed. And for make sure say we shorten the system so that people do not get caught in the justice system. Because when we do that, it build public trust. It close the trust deficit. But there are also other things that we need for doing. I always don't say when you look at the justice chain, now the clearly way you talk about the triple quadrant in project management, right? Where you talk about scope, time, and cost, right? If you alter the time of a project, it affect the cost, right? It affect the scope. If you alter the scope of a project, it affect the cost. It affect the time. So when you look at the justice chain, right, it starts with waiting in at the judiciary, and then it comes to we own office. And then it get for going to court, it get for going to correctional service. So we all get for grow together. If you strengthen one side, you strengthen the other side, we know they get results. So now that make we try for work, for make we coordinate efforts, for make we get trainings together, for make we also work with police investigators, wherein we dey collaborate or coordinate with efforts well, that we get involved in the training we police investigators they undergo. We don't say we need for sit down together and develop a checklist, right? So that way when investigators they look into a matter, they look at that checklist day, so that at the end of the day, then go able to provide waiting go really withstand evidential scrutiny. Because when they not do that right, if that not happen right, it delay the process. Because if it come, we go for send and back, that back and forth, don't delay the process. And waiting will happen, you get people them for give up on the system itself. But once we do all of this, we want to hold yourself accountable, right? In this day and age, if you not go digital, it affects how you do your work. So yes, we want for digitize the entire process, not because we want to do this as luxury, but yes, now because we want to be effective, because we want to be efficient, but because we also want to be accountable. Because what we go do with this, we go open this process up to the public, so the public actually able to see. For example, this week, how many files come out? Now CID will come to the DPP office. You able track that. You understand? You able see when this matter has to come up.
Families that we still they ask for closure. Then get cases. Then go tell you say then case here from where they can CID. Then say they not DPP. They not DPP office. Then able get closure for certain matters that we involve them family members.
Well, yeah. So the point that we don't try for dig deep into all them things and they look. I don't get meetings with a lot of family members, right? I think one of the most difficult parts of the job we I don't do as Attorney General. Now, sometimes when I can get for meet with families, we don't get their own challenges in the justice system for explain to them waiting don't happen or waiting go happen to them case. I've had these meetings. Sometimes with family members, the family members for tell them what's available, but then make them know say if new information come up, we go still look into this matter also. So I empathize with those families we need closure. I empathize with those families we don't be caught in the system. We make they don't lose faith. But we don't be very open to them for say, the one that we come to your attention for state who side in case they, and if no matter we not get for move beyond investigation, I think we get for be honest and say so to the family members. I think it's part of the work we supposed for do. I can say last time somebody asked me which aspect of my job I take really serious. I can say now when I sign an indictment. Because each time I sign an indictment, I know see that my singular signature will get significant impact on somebody or plenty people in lives. Right? Because if I do them right, then it gets an impact on that victim, that survivor, that family will need justice. If I do them wrong, it gets an impact on that person. We likely go down the wrong road in the justice system, and then sometimes we don't even pay attention to the impact it gets on them. I always like to talk about the story of the carpenter. See, sometimes when we get archaic laws, right, or sometimes when we get them wrong, you send somebody, a poor person or somebody live on the margins of society. You send and go court, and then the court get them wrong, or for some offense which don't be resolved at the community level, they get for go jail. We need to pay attention to what they happen to in family. What go lead to in Pekin now, we go drop out of school, and then they out now the streets, and then before you marry themselves, don't get into conflict with the law. So we need to do all of that. We also need to pay attention to when people get caught in this justice system, how they affect the economy. For a country we say significant part of the economy in the informal sector, people in our daily bread. So when you get a system we go on for long, and then somebody get for come every day, he do that 1 year, each day he come in shop not open. Each day we cannot get for dinner in farm. Each day we come and not get for good drag. And we go drag, when shop open, now that way they take care of him family. how they take care of them family, they get for go buy stuff them. When they go buy stuff in a shop, that shop we get for go buy too, then self get money for take care of their own families, then get for pay tax to government. It is the economy. So, we consider all of them things and when we talk about how we reform this justice system and make sure it really work for the people of this country. And so that is why we also see, we put out a range of justice mechanisms because we realize that people in justice needs them different. Just like health, right? As I make the example. People in needs them different. Some people with a headache. Some people have belly heart. So when people get an encounter with the justice system, they do so because they get unique justice needs. So we need systems where they respond to their needs. And that is why very soon I will in a parliament the mediation bill. We go institutionalize mediation. We'll set up mediation centers across the country.
So instead of going to court.
Yes, make people then take informed decisions and go into mediation. Right? And then resolve the issues and a less acrimonious, a cheaper, it'll be handled within a shorter window. 1-2 days, we don't done because certain matters and they really will overwhelm the courts. You understand? So we go through that. We go review the correctional service system. So like we talk, people we poor or people we not get high status, they go na court and na jail. We cannot have a system where they criminalize poverty. And so that is why we also then say we go table legislation for decriminalize petty offenses. When we decriminalize petty offenses, it will impact loitering. Right? We don't see a lot of people we may too. You don't see plenty same way with the exercise in the beach, right? But other people when they do that in the beach at particular times, then they be arrested for loitering. You understand? That's criminalizing poverty. You understand? So we go reform the laws and then see we not criminalize that. Traffic offenses, same thing. Payment of debt we get for do like woman the way they take microcredit. Right? We at the end of the day when they struggle for pay, the system comes after them and sends them to jail because that is what the law says. So then they all criminalize poverty and status. So we they change the one and the all. So I'll be tabling legislation for CC we decriminalize the one and the. When we do that, people stay out, live their lives, deal with their families grow, then contribute to the economy. But also let's look at how much we spend on correctional service.
Yeah, you decongest.
There are 33% of inmates now with correctional service system. Now for petty offenses, 33%. So when we decriminalize, we reduce correctional service population by more than 30%, right? And then we continue to invest in a range of reform efforts. We go really make the justice system work for people, and that people build faith in the system. But we also, like I say, put out a range of options. So when somebody gets an issue, they take a decision on whether mediation or they're gonna court. We will also bring out we will roll out the diversion policy for minors. So ensure minors when they come into conflict with the law, we divert them from the criminal justice process and move them into alternatives. You understand? We don't do a pilot of that. And we don't see even complainants, right, against minors. No, I'm opposed to that. Matter of fact, in about 92% of the cases where they come against minors and the complainants themselves, one made the matter proceed to court. So we go do that. You understand? We go also bring in what we call a victims charter. When we bring in a victims charter, I think it's answering the question. When we say sometimes we say we get to ask ourselves this question: the justice where we seek, and the justice way enough for victims. Maybe they talk earlier about reparations. So when you take a suspect and a sexual penetration or rape matter, and then you prosecute them, and then find them guilty, and then you go jail. You send them jail for 30 years, 40 years. The question still remains, how about the survivor? Right? So we'll get a victim charter. We go respond to the needs of them people in there. When you take, if you take a murder case, right? You arrest the suspect. We kill, let us say, a man or a woman when a breadwinner of the family. The breadwinner don't die. But then you prosecute the perpetrator, and then you convict him, he go jail. But what's happen with the family? So we need a victims charter. They also make sure that the justice process includes attending to the needs of the family we don't left behind. It might actually even be when I tell you about the story of a carpenter where you don't send go na jail, and family actually not get anything for do with the crime. But then I then don't end up suffer. So we are taking care of the convicted person in jail. But then in family out there the staff. So we got to consider all of that. In the justice system, we with the design and how we really make sure see this system here so work for the people of this country.
I get a question from one of the groups that we're concerned about the tripartite recommendation. They say, please ask AG about recommendation 50 about PWD's participation and how this has been captured and ensure compliance.
So what we don't do for PWDs, what we been say now that the Persons with Disability Act for be amended, for reflect say persons with disabilities for be represented in the governance architecture in government. We recommend progressive representation starting at 2% and growing from there. So it's there, and it's one of those things where we already don't put inside the Persons with Disability amendment bill. We for go parliament, and that we work very closely with the commission, Disability Commission. We also work very closely with the Ministry of Social Welfare, where now get oversight over persons with disability, and the Minister of Social Welfare. This is one thing we've been very, very passionate about, and so it don't be a strong advocate for this, within cabinet publicly, and ensuring say that recommendation they is reflected in the bill. So really, kudos to Ram for where a really see this work for constituents where they under in ministry.
I'll just take advantage and ask you this question. There is this directive, government policy directive, we've been coming from State House, where say on the Mineral Wealth Fund, they say the Attorney General Minister of Justice immediately terminates the management services agreement with Mount View Consent Management, DMMC, MVK Consulting. There's this community. There are no legal issues with this termination of this agreement.
No, we examine all of that right now. We look at the legal issues in all of this, and at the end of the exercise, we'll make sure as we comply with the directives from the Office of the President, we will do so in compliance with the law. The point is that yes, the agreements stay, but the agreements exist within a broader framework of legislation, and other things, and we consider. So yes, we're discussing this internally, but be assured, say we will be in compliance with the law.
It has not been terminated yet.
It's a problem. You don't terminate overnight because there are processes.
But the directive say the Attorney General immediately. That is what it reads.
Well, yeah. So immediately means you take the legal steps, right? So yes, we don't start. You understand? There are legal steps we need for take.
There was this commitment of paying Jenna and Co. some time ago for some legal issues with Marampa mines and all of that. Are we committed to paying whatever we owe them now?
Well, yeah. I mean, the point is, we've been there in court at the US on that. And at the end of the day, the court self recommend a settlement, out of court settlement, a settlement agreement. So yes, we're doing discussions with Jen and Co now about waiting that settlement day for look like.
So are we getting the understanding with regards of this? Go give you any other implications?
Oh yeah, the point is that so every decision we'll take, would it be informed by the legal issues we don't happen in the past? Would it be informed by the existing law? And it's not only about these decisions, right? It's also about using the experiences of the past, the current issues for reform, the laws the entire sector, so that we not going to be caught in all of this. In very soon, in the next couple of weeks, actually, my office they also bring in some experts for do training across the board. So we're not only changing the laws, but we do training across the board for law officers, but also for staff within the various MDAs where they handle agreements. It's time for be trained about, how for negotiate these agreements, waiting for put in these agreements, and how for review, if needed for review, and make sure saying we use then capacity building efforts here so for protect the country, for make sure say we are not caught in litigation, and that we deliver on things and we work for this country as well.
Finally, and I promise you this is not the final one. Waiting at the state of the extradition request for Josh.
Within discussions on that. When I say within discussions with the Dutch authorities, I don't get several meetings with them. Within discussions with the Sierra Leone police about concluding the investigations.
You don't get updates from them from the last whole talk, because you've been telling me say then they investigate and they need to get back to you.
Yes, I don't get update for them, and then we'll make the outcome of the investigations known publicly very soon.
So you doing discussions on the extradition request? You still there in discussion?
Oh yes. It's a continued process within discussions, and then of course will be guided by law. Once the investigations are concluded, we understand it will happen very soon. That will inform the next steps we will be taking within the ambits of the law.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Mr. Minister. It has been a pleasure. It has been very educative. I'm sure we people and don't learn and understand waiting at the bill. We get for good parliament, and we serve for help for amplify them, let people understand what's in the happen. But thank you so much for joining us this morning, and thanks to we viewers and listeners and we don't join in at the program this morning. We appreciate that so much. The Truth Morning Devotion, they return tomorrow, 6:30. But as always, as we can say now, remember, say we all get a part for play for change this country. This bill, give a good parliament, so people are only complaining say they not be the MP, but try to be your MP and engage them. If you get concerned, raise them with them. That is how democracy works, and that is how government for work. We will continue for discuss the issues, and I will call experts them and members of parliament them for discuss them. So we all go learn and be informed about the things within inside this bill, and waiting we for know and waiting we for get concerned about. Thanks for being with us. Thanks to my colleagues, the technical and production team. We'll meet back tomorrow. Have a lovely day and continue for follow and stay between at Truth Media.